you guys all, first of all, Kalamai, I will ask you guys all for forgiveness. Because several of our community members known about this, because as for you guys, my neighbors, how long ago I didn't tell you guys about it? Honestly, no sit there, Mr. Souza. Please. You guys see the names on my shirt? It's two of my family members, my daughter and my nephew, lost to cancer. Why? Why? I will give university professors to help me out. My daughter's house is getting nailed dead on. If you guys don't pay attention, look in your guys' own yards. You guys don't notice you guys, may ono, your cows you guys plant all dying? You guys don't notice trees just all brittling and give them names like Rapido here dead? What if I told you guys it's all lies? And what if I said the defense department on that tower? Because several years ago, I bring this to the county and state. And the owner of that mountain was Richard Alderson at the time. Wasn't the county's property, wasn't the state's property. When I tried to take Richard Alderson to court, he handed the property over to the county, never like the liability fact. Because knew, I just was at their office and I had claimed negligence on their behalf, and I told her representatives that I am suing the state and the county. Why? Because the university professor that was supposed to stand here with me today had not want to come because of the fact liability on his credibility and his job is at line. He could come here because other people press his buttons. None of you guys can say that you guys lost family members, huh? When the professors came to my daughter's house, they hit on a machine that's called an EMF reader, and the thing went off the Richter scale. Oh, this is unsafe. You guys know what is a radiation tester? One EMF tester? There's two different types of EMFs and OMFs. There's synthetic, what the Hawaiian people knew about that was called Mauna. It wasn't just brutal strength. It was this, you guys know what is you guys' aura? Huh? Everything on electrical energy. When synthetic energy, meaning EMFs, come in two different forms. But when that EMFs disrupt your guys' EMF, meaning your guys' natural EMF, synthetic EMF, this is what happened to my ohana. Kalamai, may none of you guys lose family members. But this gentleman lives, and his wife is one who fighting cancer. The neighbor across fighting cancer, and so on. In the end, our community, that's all we have, people. Whether how you guys like it or not, we're all one big family. Whether you're going to take care of your next of kin or your ohana, your neighbor, it's all up to you guys. But as for those who had thought that I was crazy, running around in a mall and so in tune with our aina, I'm not crazy. No. I lost my baby, bro, 30 years old. My other nephew is only 29. And Kalamai Tita as a Lindsay boy.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you. Go ahead. Oh.
Hi everybody, I'm Renee. I've been a Pepe'ekeo resident for just over 2 years now. When I moved into this neighborhood, I obviously took recognition of the towers. I was always really conscious of not keeping my cell phone next to me, just being aware of, turning my Wi-Fi off, not keeping it near my bed. So I was kind of on the more cautious side when it comes to radio frequencies, which I'm not too informed or educated about. I'm kind of doing more research as it goes. But when I moved in, that tower wasn't, I'd say it doubled in size. I couldn't believe it. When I moved in, I thought maybe it was a radio tower. I didn't think twice about it. Had I known if it was a cell phone tower and it was going to get all those different panels on it, I'm telling you, in the last 3 months since I met with you folks, and I shared with my concerns with you guys, and I told you they're working on it at night because it's what I heard. I had no confirmation until you got up and you confirmed that. You told me that it's extremely dangerous and that you don't know anybody that would go up on those towers at night, right?
I don't know anybody crazy enough to climb at night.
Yeah, sure. You confirmed that. And then I spoke with a man yesterday and he told me it's quite common for them to go up and work at night. So,
and the question is, why do you got to go up at night?
So that's one of my questions, and the same as you, I literally, I have pulled out of my I pull out of my driveway and I have to look at this ugly death tower every single day as I'm taking my kids to school. And I kid you not, I would wake up and I'd go to my corner and there's new stuff on it. And you know what? I checked the permit, the county, for the permits. They had 2 permits. That's why all that new stuff is on there, because they just got approved last month to put it up there. I was tripping out when I went to the corner. I couldn't even believe it. And the fact that they're just adding and adding and adding, and they don't have any studies done, and all we know is that it's dangerous. And then you keep adding it and keep adding it. There's five towers on that hill, and you can't tell me that having all of those in such a close proximity, emitting whatever frequency they're on, is not kind of sort of harmful. I have 4 pages of studies that I don't know if anybody would consider them credible or not, but they've been done, and it all shows that these homes in close proximity to these towers, I mean, I shake getting up here talking about this because this is heavy stuff. This is our health. This is our future. I don't care about the cell phones. I'm with you. I think people of the Big Island appreciate the land, or they should. You move here because you have a connection. It's not all about the fastest, who can check the email the fastest. I'm not willing to compromise the health and safety of my family so that you can have faster internet speeds. I'm sorry. I will relocate myself if the towers will not be relocated. With the information that I have, if everybody knew, I don't think there would be a community member that would say, we want those towers to stay there, because it's scary. And I'm with you at night. I kid you not, the reason why I even spoke with civil defense, because I was on the hunt. Who do these towers belong to? I lay down at night at bed, everybody's sleeping. I'm hearing ringing, I'm hearing humming. I'm talking to other people, they're telling me about humming, and I didn't even believe it because all I had heard was ringing, and I thought, humming. The other night I'm up at 10 o'clock, my house, I'm going like this, you guys, walking back and forth. And some spots I can hear the humming, and some spots I can't. And I stop, and I can hear it, and it's almost like I can feel it. I kid you not, I don't know if I'm sensitive to the EMFs or what, but these studies all say that it's dangerous to have your houses in such close proximity. So that's where I feel we should start with the legislation. There needs to be regulations on where these things are placed. They're placed by churches. The sickest thing is they're placed by schools. Right next to these children who have to be in class 7 hours a day.
Right, and so I agree with you, we gotta start with legislation, but I think we need to start too first with the county property that is being leased and saying, stop, right? Stop right now,
The thing
and
is, they had
while we work on that legislation.
2 times their permits got approved. They were adding stuff when there was no
Right.
permit approved.
So, and that's what we
Before
need.
April.
And now you know also what we know is because it's like you hear high pitched sound, you hear things being cut, you hear like tap, 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 almost like somebody's So you hear the sound. We call the police so many times because we think somebody's building something, and then you get up in the morning and there's an extension of itself.
Okay,
Oh my God.
so and that's what civil defense is gonna help me figure that out so that we can advocate and we can make sure, I don't know what our county is doing, whether they're giving the permits or Department of Health. And Don, before I get to you, and
So Tracy Wise, Pepe'ekeo resident. I pretty much live right underneath the radio hill. Been there from '97. If in your advocacy, maybe talk to them about, they've been working on those towers at night. And initially I thought, to be all honest to the community, I thought it was a whole bunch of meth heads that was like tweaking out on top of the hill. And then what happened was one day, a gentleman stopped on my street. There's only 4 houses on the street. African American, very thick, military built male, asked me if this is my road to get to the tower. And I said, sir, it isn't. I don't know why you're here. It's now 10 o'clock at night. And he says, I'm supposed to be working on that tower and to do with the lighting. I said, wait a minute, so let me ask you some questions about the light. Why is it that the shorter tower has a light, but the taller tower doesn't have a light? If the shorter tower needs a light, well, it doesn't necessarily need a light, because I called FCC and they said they gave me the regulations. But I said, out of courtesy, thank you for putting the light, because I don't want no planes banging the hill and landing on my house. But so what happened was, he claimed he was from Georgia and that he was hired to maintain the tower. And he was going in, and it was about 10 o'clock. And the reason why I know is because I had like, I mean, it was weird. This car was like parked right at my base. So one, I know towers are going up faster than I sort of expected. I get up in the morning some days and there's something else sticking out of it. Something's happening regarding the frequency, honestly, because you'll call my house, I can be talking on a landline or on a cell phone, and somehow it goes dead. Like my whole house goes dead. And so I had Hawaiian Telecom come in, I had them change my box, I had them change the line on the pole. I mean, we've done all kind of stuff. It doesn't run on internet. I don't know. So just know that they are working at it at night. I know that I've seen headlamps. I've been with binoculars checking them out. They've got work belts on. And I live like directly below it. So like Pepe'ekeo place, you can come visit me, hang out at my house, barbecue. Not to get any calls over there at all.
Is there any like regular intervals between when you're working or?
So it's weird, like all of my frequency that ends up having some level of disturbance is usually at night. And it's usually somewhere, if I had to guess, somewhere in the 8 o'clock, like 10:30 range.
No, but I mean, when they're up there working, is it like once a month, the beginning of the month, the end of the month?
No, I mean, there was some periods that like literally, I felt like it was going on for 2 weeks. We have another neighbor. So I'm facing the tower, like the tower is like here to me. And we have another neighbor friend that's on the other side, on Andrade campsite. And she was able, we're trying to monitor, because initially we thought it was really somebody that was under the influence of substances. And so we called community policing. We had them bulldoze the area that was going up to it, thinking that maybe it was that, but then we found out it wasn't, and I called FCC, but I don't know.
Okay, and good to know. So,
If you see it again, can you call us?
Yeah, I think I even have it, we have it logged out.
can you give her, what's the number, should she call?
You can call into the office, I'll give you my cell
Okay.
phone number after.
Okay, good, that's a good contact, so you'll have his cell phone contact.
My name is Gilbert Gordon. I live right below the tower. In 1982, I used to work for the plantation. In 1982, I moved my family up to the new home that we built. And at that time, there was only one tower. And at that time, I was with the volunteer firefighters. That was our station down here, where we had our truck park. Up to relay to the station, relay back to Hilo. That's the only one that we had. And as the years went by, heaven knows that they keep on adding. It's like it's Lego. I mean, when is going to come to us down? Before they fill their whole deal up?
I'm Don Rudney, and I live in Pepe'ekeo. I'm actually just below Richard Haas pot farm. And so I can see the tower from my home, so I'm thinking I'm maybe a half a mile away from that. But I think we got some good information here today, and there's a question I have that I think is an important question, but I don't think you guys can answer it. But that's good information that the only tower that the county really needs or has up there is the communications tower, which is obviously very important for civil defense. And so where all these other towers come from.
Right.
So who in the county is responsible for giving these leases, approving these leases? I think we need to know that, and I think we need to get them here. Is it the property management division?
And help me with this, because
Well, they might not know.
Yeah, real property. So would it be like Hamana Ventura's division? So that falls right under with, of course, the mayor's administration. And that would be Hamana, and that is who I will, after this meeting, I'm gonna call him and see when we can have that meeting, and
I just want to say we need to find out what's the process that these get approved by.
Right.
Does it go to the county board? That, in other words, is there a lease and then it's brought to the county board, or does somebody have authority?
Or
within
who's
the
giving
county?
the permit?
And then what other contracts are before the county, you know, for the 5G or for future development? Because
And
I
how
think
can we
that needs
stop
to-
it?
That needs to be put on hold and stop, and then see if we can get, maybe there's a better location, they can keep the communications tower, because I'm sure you guys got a lot of stuff that's connected to it, and,
Yeah.
you know, I don't think anybody's against that, but the
Other
cell
towers,
towers and
yeah.
So
stuff
for
like
those,
that.
for those of you that wanna look into the permits and stuff, here's the thing, for it. It's 2-8-007-070. These towers are sitting on county property. I called Department of Health already. Department of Health told me straight, they don't have anybody in the state of Hawaii that can monitor that thing because they don't got the proper equipment. Now, Mr. Honda is here, perfect. He can go around and talk to our neighbors and ask each and every one of our neighbors, who got cancer in this community? That's where you can stop, because this is what I'm concerned about. I'm concerned about maybe a community coming up at the top of this community here. 30 homes. Number one qualification for that project is you gotta have kids. You know? Perfect, you can. Mr. Cooley right here, he lives at the very top of the mountain right here. He can point out each house that they cancer. That's Mr. Cooley, that's the first guy you gotta start with right there. Right, the county is here already. In the paperwork it says, from the bottom of the summit, there shouldn't be no houses within 600 feet from the bottom of the summit. We got houses within 200 feet of that summit.
Okay, and that is stated
Time to
where,
move.
Jared?
Huh?
That is stated where?
In the planning department paperwork.
Okay, so, and that's one thing.
This is one of the rules that the county have for these things here.
Okay,
The latest permit was issued April 8, 2019.
by whom? By whom? Yeah.
Public Works, yeah, Public Works.
Okay,
Yeah.
so right after I get off of facilitating this, I'm gonna send a text to our director of DPW so that we can all get on the same page. And what I think needs to happen is,
That
Civil-
was permitted for Verizon. We're here today because we know that these towers are sitting on county property. Our goal is to move it, period.
They need that technology.
Why do you need 5G here? What are the?
At the cost,
Yeah, what is the cost?
If we're gonna wait for legislation, which will take 6 to 8 years to even start to make a dent here, 5G is rolling out on June 1st.
Here's the thing, here's the thing.
okay, wait, I wanted her to finish first.
Yeah.
And if you wanna talk to Brian Schatz,
Tomorrow,
he's gonna be at UH Hilo tomorrow.
we'll be there. Here's the
Let's throw titles around, okay? Because I'm with the National Center for Atmospheric Research, and I'm also with the Research Center for the University of Hawaii, and I'm also with FEMA, and I'm also the National Department, FEMA's National Disaster Preparedness Training Center. I'm the National Community Outreach Specialist. So I'm telling you that the research has been done. Now, they don't want to buy it. That's one problem.
But, okay, so
No, but
that-
the problem is, so Val, I should say this, so that everybody can kind of like, we can kind of bring it together.
Right, so
Yes, there's research, but the last report that was published by the feds was 2003, based on studies that had accumulated in the 80s,
Right.
90s, and they
Ancient
stopped
studies.
publishing in 2003.
So, okay.
So that's
you
what
see- Okay, so when you hear all of this, right, when you hear all of this, where do you think we need to go then from there, right? We need to go to the Fed.
Saying to us that the science may or may not in fact exist, when it really in fact does, and it has for a very long time. So that anyone who is going to say that we don't really know if there's science or not, is already a faulty source of
right, and
information.
the economics of politics that have been driving the country for the past decade and a half. When are we going to stop and be responsible for our own response? I mean, the Koch brothers finally shut down their phony science division because they got tired of paying for it. You know what I mean? And so they walked away because even they are tired of fighting the climate change argument. So
can we get real about what we want to do? And by that, what I mean is, as a community, should we revisit this nightmare on another community? I'm not certain. So even when we do move it, do we have to be responsible as a community?
Do we need it? Do we need to move it?
Well,
How do we enact the precautionary principle right now? What is an actionable step?
And,
Because it's still going. We
Right.
have Keiki. We have
and that's what we're talking about at the
yes.
county
and
level,
so,
right?
Yes. So my thing is, what is actionable steps to stop this?
Okay.
So can we, while we're trying to push for whatever legislation to occur, stop the momentum and the progression from occurring? That's the question.
Because we never even begin the process, right? So we're talking about actionable steps that would really work. We can sit and picket, we can write things in the paper, we can act out on Facebook, we can do all these things, right? But are we getting actionable steps and going to where we gotta hit to make it happen, right? Ferguson? Yeah.
I think that we're missing a very, very big chunk of this meeting. And that's the 5G part. It's the technology we're talking about. It doesn't even matter where it is. It's important that we know it's here right now. I mean, we've got all, it's not really there yet, but they sure are building it. They're getting it. But it's the technology itself, and it really behooves the health department to do a lot of research on your own, so you are prepared. I mean, I can go on the internet, I wrote I'll talk to you, right? I'm just, you know what I mean? And that's a bad sign. You folks should be more abreast than the public is, so you can give us answers, yeah? But it's the technology itself, it's a very dangerous thing. There's actual countries that are banning this from going in.
Brazil.
So it's not just a whim. It's not about one tower. In fact, the way this thing works is there's going to be a concentration of little towers all over the bloody place.
So so what we're trying to do right now is stop things that are gonna start action. Like if the permit was, how can we stop it right now because of this concern? And then we'll work on, see, those are things that we still need to, we need to address, definitely.
That needs to be addressed
Right.
right
That's-
away.
Yeah,
That's
right.
Yeah, because some of the permits already might have been already approved for progress to 5G.
Right, so what we need to do, right, so what
It's the
we
technology
need to
that'll-
do right now is, how can the county, and if the county can put a halt to that?
So, without that data or those studies, Honolulu said that there is no national public health standard for ionizing radiation. And a lot of their rules are based on national standards. So that's the reason why there's no state rules and regulations regarding non-ionizing radiation. So the agency that has jurisdiction over RF, radio frequencies, radiation is the FCC. And it's a federal agency that oversees all of the communication, telecommunication facilities. So, for the last several decades, there's been numerous studies, and I believe studies are going on as we speak today, right? All of the different, trying to see if there's any association linked between the non.
So what we need to do is find out for sure, though, because we're just thinking maybe studies are going on, but maybe I need to contact like Brian Schatz and Kelsey Gabbard then and go, hey, can you find out, you know, what studies are being done that affects, you know, what we're concerned about here on Hawaii Island, right?
Actually, federal regulation is streamlining the rollout of this technology. They're influenced by corporations, and they are already setting in place regulation to make it very easy for this to happen.
And actually, at the present moment, NIH, National Institute for Health, and CDC are both recommending not rolling out the 5G because of the health benefits. But the federal government is ignoring their own federal health agencies responding to the idea that the economics driven by this technology turnover is just what can make America great again. I'm sorry, I gotta lean towards the health of our citizens and the children and the people. Because I'll eat sweet potatoes if that's what it takes for my kids to grow up healthy. That's what I'll do. I'll give up the 5-star dinners and stuff. So, I mean, we got a real morality problem because governance should be done regionally and at home. Governance should be done with our local representation, responding to the needs of the community. And frankly, if our state and county agencies won't respond to the community ought to have a conversation about that.
And I think with the Department of Health, not just trying to make an excuse for them, but they're mandated to follow certain regulations.
Absolutely, but we're not.
And right, in the community we're not, but then what we need to do, and that's why, when I say we need to start meeting with our congressional delegation.
So Brian Schatz will be at the University of Hawaii in Hilo tomorrow.
And that's, okay.
How do you stop it first? Because she said.
Like, why can't we take a pause?
So, okay, and that we I know as county, we cannot take, I cannot make that decision, right? Because some of these decisions are made either at the state or at the federal level.
For county property.
On county property, because county is just, and we'll explain that, I think, we'll move into that right after on why that lease property is, how do we, what are the leases looking like, and how can we, if it's possible, to move it to some other site where, I don't know who has land.
Thank all of you for whoever's responsible for arranging this meeting and all the people who show up from all the different parties. But I just wanted, and it might have been covered earlier, so I apologize for being late, but I just want to make maybe a suggestion. So, as a government, a representative, yeah. So, there are, I think, at least 5 companies as of today, 5 countries, pardon me, as of today that have officially banned 5G at this point.
Yes.
There's not just Brussels, which is a city in Belgium, the entire country of Belgium is, okay. But there are also communities in the United States, over there in Mokuhonu, that have also stopped 5G.
And Australia.
Thank you. And so not necessarily a whole country, but communities like community like Pepe'ekeo or Hilo or Honolulu, okay, big cities, small places. So they have their representatives, they have the people who are working with them, and they have all the different players keening on the problem and how to deal with it. And it would be just, I think, important that you folks could contact some of these people who've been successful in their arena or in their area, and then you could maybe garner some information from them, some proactive networking, because I'm going to tell you something else real quick, and I'm not going to say a lot because there's just too much to say, but I'm going to say this, that there's a lot of things out there right now, technology and things like that, that a lot of people are really confused about. They're not really sure what it is, what it's for. You know, the cell phones that we use, you know, they're convenient, they're nice. You know, I use one too. But everything that we're using, all our convenience, everything we have, our washing machines, everything else, has been mostly, 99.9% produced from the military complex. Okay? So there are things going on right now, and 5G is just one part of that. Okay? There are things out there right now, they're not just patents. There's contracts. There's government and corporate contracts. There's defense contracts. There's all kinds of scientific contracts going with universities and stuff all over the country. There are programs that are in motion right now that have been ongoing. You know, people talk about chemtrails, but that's kind of a crappy word to use because it makes it sound like, well, those are condensation, you know, people get a little mixed up. It's kind of become a chemtrail, oh, you know, you're crazy. Use geoengineering because that covers everything. It covers the GMO food, the GMO what? Do you know our weather's been genetically modified? I'm not making this up. Have you ever heard of frostband? Frostband? It's been banned. Okay, they took a bacteria which is necessary to create ice. Do you know that bacteria creates ice? The dust, the ehu goes up. The ice collects on the ehu. It gets heavy, comes back down, becomes rain or snow. Okay, so it's all connected. And the 5G is a network. It's not for Pepe'ekeo. It's not for Hawaii. It's not for the islands of Hawaii. It's not for Alaska and Australia. It's for the whole globe. Okay, so when I say this geoengineering and I say they genetically modify the weather, it sounds crazy, doesn't it? But let me tell you something. There's a bacteria that's necessary to create ice. It's part of our natural system. And they genetically modified that bacteria and made what's called ice minus. So now they can change the freezing point, whether the water should freeze at a certain temperature or not. Now they can play with that. You've heard of HARP. HARP is not a system that's all over the world. No, it's not. When you see the stuff going on here, that's not HARP. HARP is in Alaska. It's one facility in Alaska. I've seen it. I lived in Alaska. My dad was in the military. I've been in underground facilities around the world. In Greece, all over the place. That was supposed to be probably. Okay? But there's things going on, and people consider them to be conspiracy theories. I've been hammered by people who are supposed like leaders of the environment, the Aina, and the movement, freaking blocked on Facebook because they're talking about climate, weather. Okay, this is all the 5G, guys. All this is the 5G. Okay, they can't do what they're doing without 5G. That's the next step. Okay, so I've been hammered for presenting to people who, so-called leaders, about climate change, and none of them will talk about this. I know some of you are like, what the fuck are you talking about? Okay. But do your research, do your due diligence. So you need to talk to these people to stop the 5G, because let me tell you, it's not going to be easy.
Yeah.
It's not going to be easy. And there's so much things in motion right now.
But
You're going to have to
with the
really,
people.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is, what I'm telling you this is it's not just Pepe'ekeo, and it's not just the county.
Oh, yeah.
But it's got to start somewhere. You said the people.
Yeah.
The people
So-
are screaming around the world.
Right. And
So
and,
wait, let me say one more thing. My wife just died in November. Okay, I'm gonna get personal right now. Okay, and then I'm gonna shut the hell up. My wife died in November after 12 years of struggling. Okay, the doctors told her 3 to 5 years. She said, "Come on, take me home." 12 years, never went back to the doctor except for 1 2-week checkup. Never took their medicine, never took their chemo, never took their anything. Okay, 12 years. But you know, she got sick before the sickness that they were identified. She had Morgellons. You guys heard of Morgellons? You heard of it? I've seen it. I've seen it growing out of her body. I watched my wife dying from that. All the things she got was from after she got Morgellons. If you don't know what it is, some people react and it manifests where you can see it and they get lesions and it comes out and they grow. But it's in everything. It's just that most of us don't react to it. And when that 5G goes on, all that stuff that killed my wife is waiting to be reacted to 5G. Okay? I know you guys think I sound crazy. No, I'm not crazy. No. What's crazy is the fact that I can look at people and talk to people and tell them these things and they think I'm crazy. That's what's crazy. Because they don't look for themselves. Okay? So we gotta look for this. And this is, and like to explain, okay, I was born in Berlin, Germany. Okay? Not in Pepe'ekeo, and not in Hawaii. Right? What Brother said is true. And what he said is true. This has been going on for a long time, not just in Pepe'ekeo. People have been dying, belly aching to everybody, and what are we getting? Nothing. So you want to, not you personally, but I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about generally everybody, from elected officials to appointed officials. When Ruggles did what she did, she upheld her oath to the U.S. Constitution. Everybody else broke theirs. And it's still being broken. And I'm just going to say, you guys, if you don't believe me, that's fine. I don't want you to freaking believe me. I want you to go look for yourself and find out for yourself. And then we'll come back to the next meeting. We'll talk about 5G again. And whatever's going on with you guys, I wish you luck because I know you guys struggling over here like all the communities in Hawaii. And I hope you guys get past all that crap because you need to work together right now. Because there's a bigger thing working against all of us.
And just to let you guys know, I love Jen. I love Jen Ruggles and I work really well with her. But we can agree to disagree because I will not stop legislating because I need to protect my community. Because there's a lot of things coming through. So that's my belief, yeah? I'm not gonna do that, although I do have respect for her.
I just want to say, I agree with you. I'm not disagreeing with what you said. I appreciate what you're doing. I know you got to work with what you got to work with. You're in a position to do something, so that's greatly appreciated. What we want to see is more of that. We want to see more and more of that, and not just with you and the
of passing developments and people developing things, but looking at.
You got to talk to those people in all these communities that are stopping 5G, like tomorrow morning.
So even if I just represent District 1, I'm working with people who are in other districts as well and different issues that we have issues in our community too, So know that is happening, I know with me and hopefully with others, but she had another.
Well, I think I just heard that Angie says 5G is a real race. Whoever wins controls the world. So it's almost like a Monsanto kind of thing before, that people were kept on fighting, and we didn't win. It's the same thing, that's why it's a big push, I understand. Because whoever controls 5G controls everything. And so it controls.
It was like the big five coming to Hawaii, right? When they took over and everything went crazy, right? Sugar planter, all that stuff, because of the outside coming here and taking control.
I'm G. Tamashiro. I'm a sovereign Hawaiian. I am lawful in my own country. Some of us here understand and know that the problem with trusting the politicians and people working for the county and the state, with all good intention, we have so much evidence. A couple things. You can't have jurisdiction if you can't prove lawful title. And so that's one way to remedy. I've also heard on videos, I think that you were in a meeting where state people said, if we want to push back on this, we can't, because the feds have imposed rulings whereby we can't move. So if we surrender the opportunity to clarify title, if we surrender that, because all the evidence is there, and I know there's going to be a lot of people that have standing, it's been 126 years, but if you don't hold yourself and each other accountable to the elephant in the room, that with all due respect, the county and the state were created unlawfully. And I have evidence of that. And I have evidence of default for anyone that we would ask, do you actually have evidence that you have title, i.e. that you have jurisdiction? So this is something, a key of remedy that all of us already possess. because everyone knows the truth about what happened to Hawaii. Don't ever forget that that unalienable right to full disclosure and due process, substantive due process, not corporate due process, you possess that key now. If you surrender it, then we get what we deserve. But I will say this, there's a silver lining to this heaven, because it's pushing everybody, because we're all concerned about our families and health, pushing everybody against the wall now. What are we going to do? Once again, you possess the capacity to force upon any individual who's saying they have jurisdiction, whether it be the state or the feds. All right, you made the claim that you have jurisdiction. We love claims. Now you have to bring facts and evidence to prove you have lawful title.
Okay, so, and that is great and all good
It's the law.
information, right?
Yeah.
But right now, I gotta operate with what's going on. Now, I can step back, I can tell all the county people, let's step back and let them all handle it. It's not gonna work.
No, we have to work together.
Right.
But what's
So,
going to happen is...
What I'm saying is, I gotta operate in the system that is operating right now. If the Hawaiian Kingdom should come successfully back, and all, of course I'm gonna respect that, right? But right now, I gotta work with what I have to work with to help the people. I'm not gonna step back and go, hey, because it's Hawaiian law, I'm not gonna go that way and fight for them in that direction.
Why
I'm
not?
gonna do them with another direction. I gotta fight to be able to remedy this with what is in place in the state and with the state and federal level. But let me
I'm not
go
finished
to.
yet, no.
Oh, okay.
All I want to say is
Go ahead.
this.
Go ahead.
I understand we were born into this line, okay? We are actually obligated by our covenant with Creator, okay, with all due respect. We're going to have to come to you with a note to you and the mayor and the attorney general and the governor. We're going to have to come to you and with a notice and demand for particulars, because you say it just exists. And it does, but why? So then you're going to have to say who you are, where you think we are, and what you think the law of this INA is with evidence. Now, when we have placed those same demands for particulars of, say, someone very important to the way the land law works, Suzanne Case, who's the chairperson for the DLNR, she cannot answer that demand for particulars, because if she revealed who she was, who she's contracted with, and what she says the law is, she will render herself null and void as an authority in the PLNR. That same demand for particulars, with all due respect, is coming to you. And you're going to be held accountable in the law. I'm not talking about Hawaiian Kingdom full service governance back. I'm talking about the fact that the kingdom is in continuity, and we are obligated to hold those that are facilitating harm to the law. This is nothing personal.
Right.
But
So
that's
if
what
so
you
if
got-
if
you
I
got
would
coming
say
to you.
if I would say I'm gonna back down now, I'm gonna do you a disservice.
Oh, no.
So
Don't
I'm
back down.
I'm
Just
gonna
be
work hard.
honest.
I'm working honestly and I'm working hard. Okay. So
Thank you.
Thank you for that though. Okay. Let me. Whether it's a state
It's
or
that for the
however.
island also.
Yeah. But so what we're here to do is to look at what are the next actionable steps, because we've got to keep moving forward, right? We can say all these things. We know we need, like what you said, we need new studies. Now we need to present this, and that's why important. Where's Jarek? Jarek, I don't know if you're gonna go see Shots, his appearance. I can send out an email to him as well about what was said. I would appreciate if you could send me that information that you just talked about, when the studies were done, when the last
That's
blah,
when,
blah, blah.
well, the studies are still going on, like they all said, everybody's saying, but the last published report
Okay.
was 2003.
Right, okay, so that kind of information that we can say, hey, can you look into this, what's gonna happen next? Are you available to come meet with the community? Here is what the community is saying. So we're taking notes here, so I'm gonna wanna sit with you and Jared and possibly get on the phone with probably the chief of staff for Shots, because I can
Go on, we already got the county here.
How did this happen with the county, Parks and Recreation had that property? Am I correct? And then how did you start leasing it out and what is the lease like? And maybe if you can explain that too, because we're getting a lot of questions about, you know, how many, you know, the towers and it keeps growing and all of that. So can you explain that question?
Well, I'll do a little bit, then I'll turn it over to John. So, telecommunications is a big industry in the world, and so a lot of competition to get on premier sites. Obviously, this is a premier site. The county uses it a lot. We link a lot of our connections through here. One of the departments in the county that's their responsibility as far as the leases and so forth. They're not here, but we got to follow up with them as far as who is all up there and you know what the leases are like. And with that, I'll turn it over to John to explain.
The civil defense manages that site?
No.
Civil defense manages a county radio system, which is just one antenna up there. Yeah.
So we have one tower up there.
The
So,
smallest
okay.
one.
So can you come up, John?
The smallest one with the light?
Yes.
Okay,
Exactly.
because I'm gonna stand up after John talks. Okay, go John.
So, I've been with the county since 2006. I started as a radio system manager in October of 2018. How all of the other towers got up there, I have no idea. So I think we have to go back to property management, try to figure out when the leases were established, who authorized it, how we got to this point. And then also talk to them and say we got to stop, not allow any additional towers on the hill. So,
John, what you just said, we shouldn't allow any more towers on that. Will you advocate for that with our mayor and the administration?
I will.
Okay, because what they're saying is put a stop to it right now until we figure out what's going on, and let's bring in maybe Hamana after the meeting is done, we'll talk about when we should schedule the next meeting as a follow-up with Hamana Ventura, and I think it's Hamana that is a property manager.
Hamana, and
There's a girl too, yeah?
there's a guy on this side. Hamana's on West Hawaii. On this side, it's Inaba, Daryl Inaba.
Okay.
Can you spell that for me, John?
INABA.
Daryl Inaba, yeah. So what we'll do is, like you said, they'll advocate for us, and I'll make sure, tomorrow I'll follow up, and I'll call Hamana so that we can start talking about them saying, hold off, because I know that some other people were looking at doing something up there. Maybe, go ahead, and name and then where you're from.
Stand up.
Before I get to you, this gentleman right here, and then you, because you didn't speak yet either.
My name is Abraham Lee. I'm a resident of Pepe'ekeo, and my classmates, to be blunt, my classmates work for the military. They work in towers. And one thing you gotta know is that when they work in these towers, the frequency, the first thing, they were proud to work in these towers because they got a job before me. And we're all looking for jobs. They was happy. But when they reached 50, all the hair started falling out. They bald. And some of them not here today because they get cancer. And that's the point.
I was gonna touch your head, are you bald?
No.
You work with frequency.
They go up in the towers and service the top. And there's so much electricity up there, all the hair stands up. People who don't know this, and they talk to me, and I really go, wow, some is here, some is not here. But they tell me about the hair stand up, and they gotta go change a light bulb, they gotta go check the cable, and they get elevated, and they come down, and they say they wish they never had the job, because their health is going down. And that's why I'm over here, but I'm not by your tower, but I share you guys' concern. And the action should be taken on health. I heard him say, the people in that area, I heard him say, 600 feet, the law is 200 feet. How come that all happened? How much more cell phones we can sell? How much more internet we need?
Okay, so what we need to do is Talmadge, Mauna, and our DPW. The three of us need to get together, and do you have time tomorrow? For just me, you, and DPW, that we can call a meeting with maybe the leaders of the community, and then have another community meeting to let them know what we've done and what we've found out. I'll talk to you about that after. Okay, so good information. I'm gonna go to him first, and then to you, and then I'll come to you, Glenn. What needs to happen is the meeting with Civil Defense, DPW, and our, I don't know what the division is called, where the land division, where they, property management, thank you, property management. That's where it's gotta start first, because we gotta figure out, why is it being leased out? What is the lease like? What are we agreeing to? Who's giving permits?
8 generations ago, our ohana lived here. Before sugar, before plantations, before new houses. When this area was called Makahanaloa. That is the name of this Akupua, Makahanaloa. If you've lived here in Pepe'ekeo for a long time, you should know the right way to say it is Pepe'ekeo. Okay? But what I'm saying is, I live Pi'ihoni. I'm concerned directly because my grandchildren and my family live nearby. I feel sad Kalani died at age 29 of cancer because he lived close to this area. He's my ohana. Even though we don't live right here, I feel really concerned for those who live very close to this technology. But ultimately, this is going to affect everybody on this island. So we are all concerned. And the next meeting that is held with Public Works, we will all be there. And we will call on the mayor and civil defense and everybody, the county council, to protect us before corporate interests.
Yeah, because it's not gonna be only this mountain, it's gonna be everywhere.
And yeah, go ahead.
For real.
Okay.
Kamani and Souza, and I still work for the feds. In the interest of transparency, I still work for the University of Hawaii, the state. I still work for FEMA. You guys know the last 40 years I've been in and out of a wheelchair, and it's because of this condition. So in our house, my technical director, who's standing by the door over there filming, had to rewire our house hardwired to get rid of the frequency. So the tower near our area at Kaohe has been upgraded. So we're getting the pulse of the new big signal. And me, I can feel the towers over here. See all the shaking going on in me right now? That's my nervous system being compromised by these wireless transmissions. That diagnosis, Cedars-Sinai, Los Angeles, courtesy of the feds, because I was working for them when I got ill. So they sent me there for 10 days of blood washing to find out what was going on with my nervous system. So this is a real health hazard. I can testify. I'm the guy working my way out of a wheelchair, trying to grow my myelin sheaths again because my system's been compromised. So it's a testimony, I'm telling you. And I'm a research scientist, so I did my homework on this condition law.
Thank you. You go ahead.
I'm Rio Go, my first time. I live in Hilo, my first time here. I just have a quick question, just observing this, and my mind thinks solution, I'm pretty solutions oriented. How can we get all of the community leaders on all the islands to just come together? And because that's the only way, until we all link arms to stop this and say no. Going to the Senate, going to the representatives, this and that, it's a waste of time, especially if it is true, going to start on Saturday. It's a complete waste of time. The fastest way for the ones who are really concerned about their community, you go talk to those leaders and hey, let's all get together. I mean, I don't know if you guys are aware, there is an application called Zoom that is a video conferencing. So I don't see how it's impossible to be like, okay, this, whatever.
So if you want me to step back and let you guys, I mean, you know what I mean? Because I'm trying to, I know that because you guys gotta know, and that's my last term. I'm next December, I'm out out of office already, I'll still be in my community because I'm gonna probably die here too. And I was born and raised in Hamakua, right? So I'm concerned. I'm concerned about a lot of stuff that was going on. I fought the dairy. We did a lot of stuff because we're trying to protect our island, right? But you gotta have government involved officials. The person who can take my spot, and hopefully, I'm not gonna campaign for anybody right now, but hopefully gonna take that too, that interest, and make sure to protect our island and our coastline, right? It's not just our coastline, but we're responsible for this district, and I'm fighting hard for it, you know? But all I'm saying is, you cannot count the politicians out, because they get, if you look at, I like mention some stuff I shouldn't be because I'm representing county right now. There's things that happen at the political level, and we as community gotta stand up. The voices gotta be heard, and we gotta push back. I know that, so make sure when we're doing, no say, hey, no, this is a waste of time. It's not, because we all gotta work together. You get this community group, united we stand, divided we fall. Yes, we gotta lock arms, we gotta start moving forward, and we gotta pressure our politicians. You better go to the polls and vote for the people who can stand up for you. Okay, that's why it's important to vote. Yes, we need to lock arms, but we gotta keep government involved because they're making the decisions, right? Who's giving the permits? Is all the government, right? Department of Health, the state, at the federal level. We gotta engage in that, okay? But we gotta engage where we hold them accountable to making sure they protect the health and safety of our community. I'm gonna call this lady, then I'll call on you. Go ahead.
I have a question. You know what, since they say this is really safe, the non-ionizing radiation, can the county just say like, well, we just don't want it? And then you just get sued? Is that what would happen?
Yeah, the thing is, I don't think the county has the jurisdiction over that, but if it's our land, we have the jurisdiction over leasing it and who we lease it to, correct? But we don't have the power. I think that's at state and federal level when they get, it's like Kuhunua, right? When they're operating, there's some things that are state and federal permits and Department of Health that we don't have control over, which I wish we had more control over, but the state not gonna give us that control.
Okay, but you have control over if it's county land that's being leased to that.
Right.
But you won't have any control if they decide to just put on public land, right? I mean the private land.
Yeah, on private, and I don't know, and I gotta check on how the permits are issued, and I think those kind of stuff and monitoring, like I said, come from that state and feds, but we're gonna double check into that, but my concern is it's being leased on our county land, so we have we have say. You know, we should have, you know, whether we cut the leases and get sued, hey, is it better to take that way instead of waiting till other liabilities come up and gonna cost us more money the other way, you know? So let me get him first and then you, because he had his hand up.
I want to point out that it really is a taco thing, so I think brothers raising issues that are happening at an international level. You're definitely raising the nuts and bolts of the way things happen in the county, the way state operates. I mean, we all work for these organizations, but it requires this multifaceted track. It requires us to bifurcate our efforts. So we're not just doing the research and the science, but we're doing policy. We're making moves. We're servicing the community of people. We're not dropping the ball on things we have to do. You know what I mean? But we are caring for others' health. So if the community, and by the community I mean the greater community of Hamakua, Hilo, or even Hawaii County, maybe we should be sending representation to talk to Bruce Anderson. Maybe we should be directly impacting Department of Health. I mean, I've known Bruce since we were kids, right? I mean, he's a very knowledgeable guy, and he's easy to talk to, and if he's just unaware of the conditions that are occurring, because those are big jobs. My sister Reiko was in that job before too. Department of Health is not an easy thing to do. I think as a community, we owe it to them for us to go there and express all of our concerns, like Brother says. You can tell by his story that we do not have time. Right, that his story should have demonstrated that if Val is right, we need actionable steps, we need actionable items. I'm open to do whatever it is
Right,
that
and
you
what,
want.
and what you're saying is important, because, like you said, it's multifaceted.
Right.
Every little bit counts, where we chipping at it, right? So if your group, and I see you guys have your logo and all, that group, calling the governor's office, calling Mr. Anderson, every little bit counts, right? Well, we're still working at this level too. Everybody working at that multifaceted levels of care. And all we're talking about is the health and safety of every community.
We're running against the feds. They have no jurisdiction here. They got no jurisdiction.
Right, and I wish we could have more homeroom. And that's what, I remember Margaret Willey fighting for that. I was on the bandwagon for that, but again, state and feds always trying to suppress us as county. But again, I shouldn't be bad-mouthing them because I gotta work with them, right? So,
Harm is being done.
yeah, so.
That's the main thing, is harm.
Must
Right.
confront when harm is done.
Yeah.
Even by people that are our friends.
Yeah.
When harm is done.
Yeah.
Even by people that are our friends.
Yeah.
But we'll definitely come back to you guys as to what, where we're working, what we're finding, and so forth. But it doesn't just end here with you guys talking. I think this is worthwhile, and we'll start right away tomorrow with the other
Yeah,
departments.
so I just want to let you know. So I texted our DPW Deputy Director, Alan Simeon, he was our director. And I said, Civil Defense is here, maybe we should sit and meet with you so that we can all get in the conversation. Also Hamana, and I was telling him about what we're talking about with the 5G and the towers. And he said, I would need to check with building, because I said, who issued the permit? I would need to check with building and possibly engineering if a permit was issued. By any chance, you have an address or TMK that I can use as reference? I'll get that to him. And by the way, who is there for Civil Defense? So I'll text him back. But know that they're responding. When we say we're going to do something, we're going to make it happen. We got to sit down and look at how do we stop fighting. Because I was thinking, back in the day, look, I get on cell phone. Back in the day, we don't have this. My life was so much easier back then. Yeah. I wasn't that much busy, but now we need this.
Come on with the sun.
Yeah, but the thing is, I rely on this maybe for emergency contact with the community. Jarek always bothering me on my cell phone for hours. I should bill him for my minutes. But, so yeah, important. But where do we stop? Yeah, where do we stop so we protect Hawaii Island from becoming this rat race of Waikiki or destroying it, that none of us can be able to live here, right? Our keiki. We're not going to be able to live here. In fact, my husband said here, he was talking about moving away. Everybody, this place getting crazy.
That's what happened to my boy and my daughter-in-law. They
Right.
just moved because
So know that, like Kalani had stated earlier, there's a lot, this whole thing is multifaceted on how we gotta attack this, right? We're just one small piece too. We may be one of the bigger pieces too, because we don't want probably giving out permits, and which we gotta stop. Can I put a policy forward that says no more resolution saying, hey, to the state and the federal people and the mayor, no 5G on Hawaii Island? I don't know if that's possible, and I can do that, and I'm going to look into it. I'm serious, because I'm worried about the future of this island. And you talk about conspiracy theories. My husband is he always looking into that kind of stuff, so I know he could be looking into all of this too. But nothing wrong with that, the conspiracy theory, because sometimes we write, so.
No, I just bring up conspiracy theory because we like to say that, but
Yeah, people.
I know if I know.
Because people sometimes think we're crazy when you talking about something, right?
So many people in denial.
And they call it conspiracy theories, but I say everything is important, right?
Yeah.
All that information is important.
It's not even a theory anymore.
One thing, maybe one day, how much you guys can come up and take a look at what I was telling you about. I was at Mr. Cooley's house one day, looking down on Pepe'ekeo, right? And we can see the trees that is being ruptured from like inside out. Like when you cook something in a microwave.
Oh yeah,
All the
inside
time
out, my tree, the coconut tree,
My trees
inside
all
out.
died.
And you know what, can you guys all, since you have a cell phone, can you just go ahead and just take photos and document?
Okay, so this.
So there is a difference between, there are two types of radiation. Ionizing, which the department regulates and has authority to regulate. The second type is non-ionizing radiation. And the non-ionizing radiation includes cell phones, cell towers, microwaves, radio stations. The department has no rules and thus no authority over non-ionizing radiation sources. And when I asked, why is that? The response is that there has, over the last several decades, there has been a lot of studies with non-ionizing radiation. And all of these studies did not, or has not shown a definitive cause and effect relationship between ionizing radiation and health illnesses. I've learned a lot. I was doing a lot of reading, right, to prepare for today, and I don't want to give you guys wrong information on more specifics of the radiation aspects. The Honolulu branch did offer that if there's any questions that you folks may have regarding radiation or more specifics on what's ionizing, non-ionizing radiation, they said to give them a call, they can give out more information. Their Oahu number is 808-586-4700. 4700.
So I have a question. So, if the Department of Health is saying that there's no national health standards for non-ionizing radiation, that could come from our federal, the legislators up there to put something in law to do a study and to get regulation so that the Department of Health, is that how it works, where it comes down from the federal law, then the state will regulate, or?
Yeah, so typically at the federal level, they create these standards. And the standards are all science-based. So in order for them to create, so we're talking about like the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, EPA, in order for them to create and adopt these national standards, they base it on scientific studies and data.
So we need to ask our legislators, was there a study recently done, since all of these towers are coming up all over our island? When was the last study done and what was the data collected? Because that is what helps them to determine whether or not standards and health regulations need to be put into place. Am I correct?
The legislators would be Congress, the federal?
Yeah, Congress.
Yeah.